mamas, my name is Katie Todd. I'm a certified Hatha and prenatal yoga instructor. I've been teaching prenatal yoga for about 13 years, and I thought I'd put together a little video to show you a few things that you could do to utilize your ball at home. So if you don't have a ball, I highly recommend getting one. They run $10, $15, $20, Amazon, Target, Walmart, you can get them all over. So I highly recommend during pregnancy and after. I have lots of great tips and tricks to utilize with this ball. So today though, I'm just going to show you some things to do that are especially helpful towards the end of your pregnancy to alleviate a lot of tension and stress and those aches and pains that come along with the last stages of pregnancy. So we're going to get started seated on the ball. I usually like to keep my knees or my feet a little wider than hip distance for stability. And we're going to start off by doing hulas. So hulas are just a circular movement with your hips. So I'm just moving my hips in a circular motion. I'm going to make sure to do those movements in both directions. So keep in mind, during this video, at any time, if you want, you can just hit pause and continue to do these movements for longer than I do. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go through a lot of movements so you can see, have an idea of some things to do. So the hulas, nice, we're working, mobilizing those hips, kind of working them out. We'll stop here, stop this movement, and then I'm just going to tilt my hips to the right and tilt my hips to the left. So just tilting the hips from side to side. The next movement we're going to do are pelvic tilts. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. So what we're going to do, so you can just tilt your hips towards the back and tilt the pelvis forward. So just tilting forward and back. You can add the upper body to this as well. So on an inhale, we're going to sweep those arms behind us, nice, gently arching the back. Think about lifting the heart, maybe lifting the chin if that's comfortable. Keep those shoulders relaxed and the shoulder blades drawn together. As we exhale, I'm going to gently round the back, but I'm going to think about dropping my chin towards my chest, and I'm really focusing on spreading the shoulder blades here. So I'm not compressing too much. It's just a gentle rounding. And so from here, as I inhale, opening, and as I exhale, reaching, maybe tilt the hips, chin to the chest, get that nice stretch through that upper body. Inhale, opening, exhale, reaching. Let's do that twice more. So moving with that breath, nice big inhale. Exhale that breath away. Last time. And then release those hands down. I'm just going to turn towards the camera. So from here, what we're going to do, we're just going to roll those shoulders. You can roll them forward, you can roll them back. So nice, gentle movement. Try and get those shoulders to relax and to release. We tend to hold a lot of tension up here in our neck and shoulders. So we really want to try to focus on getting those to relax. From here, let's actually come a little deeper into the neck. Why not? Let's go ahead and take our hands onto the ball for stability. I'm going to sit up nice and tall. I'm going to drop my right ear towards my right shoulder. I can stay here for a breath or two. You can close your eyes, just settle into that breathing. On your next exhale, we'll let the chin drop down towards the center of the chest. Again, you can pause here for a breath or two. And then we're going to roll left ear to left shoulder, making sure we're sitting up nice and tall and making sure those shoulders are relaxed. We'll take it on an exhale, move through center. As we inhale, right ear to right shoulder. Now here, if you want, you can change the spin up. So I'm going to take my right hand up. I'm going to grab hold of my left ear. Just give it just a gentle tug. Keep my shoulders relaxed, spine growing tall. And if I want to deepen that stretch, I can take my left fingertips and walk them down the ball slightly. So just to get a little bit deeper into that neck stretch. We'll switch sides, right hand coming down to the ball, chin moves through center, and moving left ear to left shoulder. I'm going to take that left arm up, gently grab hold of that right ear, just a gentle tug, making sure that my shoulders stay nice and open, so I'm not letting that left elbow come forward at all, so nice and open as if I was sitting up against the wall. Shoulders relaxed, spine growing tall, right fingertips reaching down the ball. From here, I'm going to slowly release as I exhale, that left hand down to the ball, chin to the chest. One more time. You can give that head a gentle sway from right to left. On your next inhale, let's sweep those arms on up. So reaching nice and tall, we're gonna come into a gentle twist. So I'm gonna take my right hand to my right knee, and my left hand is gonna come just kind of gently behind my left hip, sitting up nice and tall. Now during pregnancy, we do very gentle twists, so we really focus on the upper, essentially the ribs and up, the thoracic and cervical spine. So I'm really just kind of turning with my shoulder. So a very gentle twist, turning to look over that left shoulder. We'll hold for a breath or two. When you're ready on your next inhale, we'll move through center, and as we exhale, gently twisting to the opposite side. And we'll do a couple times moving with our breath. So as we inhale, move through center. As we exhale, gently twisting. Each inhale, moving through center, and as we exhale, twist. And slowly release, coming back to center. Nice couple of shoulder rolls. We're gonna make our way into a seated forward fold. So I'm gonna turn to the side just so you can see. So what we're gonna do is, seated on the ball, I'm gonna walk my feet out in front of me. So I'm keeping my feet flat on the mat to help with stability so I don't slip. I'm gonna sit up nice and tall. So during pregnancy, again, we wanna keep that spine fairly straight. We wanna avoid rounding the back, which compresses the belly. So instead, we wanna keep everything nice and open. So there, I'm gonna think about hinging at the hip. So when I come into my fold, nice or flat-ish back. Hinging at the hip, I can place my hands just on my thighs, on my shins. It doesn't matter as long as I keep that back fairly flat. And from here, I can let my head relax. I can swing my head from right to left. So I'm gonna get that nice stretch to the calves, to the hamstrings. It might come up into that lower back. You can also, once you get down and you feel stable, you can lift the toes. That will take that stretch a little bit deeper into the calves and might come a little deeper into the hamstrings. So it doesn't matter if the feet are flat or toes are up. It's completely up to you. I'm gonna place my toes back down or feet back down onto the ground to come back to that seated position. I'm gonna turn just to face the camera. And from here, seated on the ball, we're gonna think warrior two in your mind. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep my left foot planted and I'm gonna extend my right leg straight out. I'm gonna turn my toes towards the left, so as if I was in that warrior two position. And I want to think about, I'm not leaning forward, I'm not leaning back, I just want a fairly neutral spine. I also want to think about where I'm at on the ball. So I can roll forward and my pose becomes a little more active. If I roll back, it becomes a little bit more passive. I'm really able to focus on relaxing and releasing those muscles. Completely up to you, whether you make it more active or passive, it just whatever feels best for you. So once I feel nice and stable, I'll bring my arms up to that T position. I'll relax my shoulders. I'm lengthening through my spine, reaching the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, and I can turn to look over those left middle fingers. Breathing here. And when you're ready, we're gonna make our way to a side stretch. So I'm gonna bend that left elbow, place that left elbow or left forearm on the left leg, palm up. I'm gonna turn that right palm up as well. I'm gonna inhale, sweep that right arm up, and as I exhale, bring the right fingertips towards the left, and I'm gonna bring my right arm by my right ear. Here again, I wanna be mindful. I don't want that right shoulder to drop down. So I wanna think about rolling it open or as if I'm up against the wall behind me. So sitting here, I'm lengthening, creating space. I'm trying to avoid collapsing too much on that left side. So I don't want to crunch that left side. So instead I want to think about lifting up and then over. So nice big stretch, relaxing through the shoulders. Vision can be down at the ground, straight ahead, up towards the ceiling. Doesn't matter, just whatever feels most comfortable for you. And we'll hold for just a couple more breaths. On an inhale, we'll bring ourselves back up to that warrior two position. I'm gonna place my hands on my hips, transition my way, and now I have both of my toes are pointed out. So toes and knees are pointed out, so you can think goddess or horse stance. So just nice opening up the hips. While you're here, you can rock from side to side. So any little movements that you'd like. You can do a little chest stretch, so you can open those arms up nice and wide. bring up to a wide position, out to a T position, drawing those shoulder blades together. You can interlace the hands behind, gently draw the shoulder blades together, lift the hands away, so you can kind of work on opening up that chest as well. And then we'll transition this one by extending my left toes out and my right knee stays bent, and I'm going to turn my toes over towards the right. So again, think warrior two position. Finding where I'm comfortable on the ball, rolling forward, rolling back, bring those arms out to that T position, lengthening through the spine, relax the shoulder blades, and I'm turning to look over my right middle finger this time. So breathing here. Making our way to that side angle, so right arm goes onto that right thigh, palm turned up, turn that left palm up towards the ceiling, float that left arm up and over, where we can get that nice stretch through the right or left fingertips all the way down to that left foot. Breathing here. On an inhale, we'll bring ourselves back up to that warrior two position. Bring those hands back to the hips, walk those feet back in, and let's go ahead and do a couple of hulas, a couple of pelvic tilts. So just loosening up those hips even more. From here, we're gonna make our way up to a standing position. We're gonna do some of my favorite poses. And if you've been in my class, we talk a lot about creating a hammock. So creating a hammock for the baby, meaning trying to get that baby into an ideal fetal alignment. So a position that's great for delivery. So that's all that we work on, especially the last 6 weeks or so of pregnancy. That's what we really wanna focus heavily on, is getting that baby into ideal fetal alignment. So let's go ahead and make our way up to standing. So our first hammock position that we're gonna do is I'm gonna take my legs nice and wide. And so my hips are gonna stay in line with my ankles. I'm just gonna hinge at my hip and take myself down. I'll turn to the side here in a moment so you can see. So I'm gonna take myself into that position, legs nice and wide. I'm gonna walk the ball out in front of me. So now I've created that hammock. So you can imagine my belly is a hammock. We want that baby's spine, if this was the baby's spine and this is the baby's head, we want the baby's head down and we want that spine dropping down towards the belly. So these poses that we're doing here, these last few poses are the ones that are gonna encourage that. So I can take myself down into a standing position. So think, I like to call it wide angle down dog. So my arms are shoulder distance apart. I walk or roll those arms out. I drop that chest down. Feet are wide, so I get that nice stretch in the legs, that stretch through the shoulder. So this would be a little bit more active. You can also add a little bit of movement. So if you want to roll the ball to the right, roll the ball to the left. You can roll that ball towards you, make it a little bit more passive and just rest here. So placing the forearms on the ball. And while we're standing, I'm actually gonna throw in one more pose. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk my feet closer in, so they're roughly hip distance apart. I'm then gonna take my left foot forward and my right foot back. I'm coming into a lunge position. So I'm gonna roll that ball to the inside of my left leg. I also wanna make sure that that left knee is roughly in line with the left ankle. I don't want that knee out in front. I want it roughly in line. So I'm gonna take that ball to the inside. I'm then gonna rest my forearms on the ball. That right leg is behind me, the left knee is lifted, and I'm just gonna rest my forearms on the ball. So here I get a nice stretch through the hip flexor and psoas, which is very, very beneficial, especially during pregnancy. That muscle tends to shorten in pregnancy, and we wanna keep that length, which can help avoid back pain and can help with lots of other things. So another variation of this is you could just take that knee down, point the toe, and again, just kind of rest here. Another great stretch. Hips shifting forward and down. So in all of these poses, I want you to be very careful moving into and out of them. We want to get into them, out of them safely. So what we can do is we can place our hand on the ground if that's available to lift that knee. We can bring ourselves up, and I'm just going to switch this one nice and easy. I'm just going to roll the ball to the opposite side of my mat. I'm going to turn my toes so they're pointing towards the left. My left knee is now lifted and our right knee is now opposite side. Opposite knee is lifted and I am gonna take and make my way into my lunge on the opposite side. Now I have my feet roughly hip distance apart, so I have a nice stable base. I can then take my forearms down, resting on the ball, letting my hips shift forward and down. And again, that other variation is dropping the knee and pointing the toes. All right, so now the last few poses I'm going to show you are my absolute favorites during pregnancy. Again, we're encouraging that hammock position, and these are just great resting poses to come into. So we're going to start off with just my knees hip distance apart. I'm going to take myself and I'm going to rest my chest on the ball. So coming here, I've created that hammock position. So I could hang out here, I could watch TV, I could, if I had my Kindle or something, sat on a chair, I could sit and read my book. So you could hang out here very comfortably for quite a while. You could take the hips and just kind of take the knees wide, shift the hips towards the heels. I could stay here. I can make it more of a chest stretch by taking my arms out in front of me, dropping my chest down if I wanted to get a stretch there. I could do the same thing from that, think table position. So up on my knees, I could walk that ball out in front of me as well. So you can make it more active, you can make it more passive, but this right here is a pose that you'll probably be hanging out in quite a bit, especially towards the end of your pregnancy. So this is where I would encourage you to hang out versus sitting on the couch watching TV. Come down here, sit down here for a while. You've created that great hammock position. It's comfortable, it's restful. Also when you go into labor, great place to hang out right here. So very comfortable, it gets the weight of the baby off of your back, off of your internal organs, and again, it allows that baby a little extra space to move around. All right, so there you go. There are my poses for during pregnancy. I'm gonna throw in bonus move. This is my absolute, it was a lifesaver after the baby was born. So this ball stayed in the nursery for probably almost 6-8 months. So what, after the baby is born, if you have a baby that's crying, this movement is, this is why your ball is so worth the purchase. So what I'm gonna do is take my baby, I'm gonna have my baby at center line or midline, supporting the baby, and then just bounce. That's all you have to do, and it is amazing. I can't even tell you how many of my mamas that have been in my class come back to me and say, this ball saved my life after the baby was born. Same with my kids, especially my son. This was a huge lifesaver. So anyway, I wanted to throw that in. Bonus tip, there you go, mamas, few poses to use during pregnancy. I hope that all is well with you. I send you love, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.